What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Respect and Pray Show. I am your host, Miguel Mike Medina. And on this episode, I am so glad to have this person once again back on this show. She is a frequent collaborator of mine in terms of sports, super reliable, super knowledgeable, fantastic human being. This is going to be a good interview, so check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor once again to present to you Miss Avry Jones. Avry, thank you for joining me for the second time on the show.
Oh, you're welcome, Miguel. It's an honor to be on your show. I really enjoyed last time. Thank you very much.
What do you think about this March Madness that's going on?
I mean, this is probably the best NCAA men's tournament, I would say, in the past 10 years. I mean, usually every year you get, an upset, you get a Cinderella story, but this, the madness, as you will, kind of rivaled what the college football season was. You weren't sure who was going to be, number one, who was going to get upset. And football, any given Saturday, there were the chances of at least one. And this past season, I think we got maybe two or three each week. But this tournament is something different. Teams are getting in, through conference tournaments, and then the seeding, can be determined any way, shape, or form. But then once you get those brackets, then you look at it and then you're like, so-and-so has a shot. Everybody wants a 16 seed, or 15th seed, to take it. And then, when it happens once, and then it'll happen again, then you're like, oh, this is really March Madness. But this tournament has been absolutely exciting, and I'm really glad we're here to see it.
So, since we met at Sports Worldwide Management, can you tell me what are the classes you've taken so far? And are there any classes that you're considering to take in the future?
Well, after we met in our sports broadcasting class, I have taken athlete management. It's one of the courses needed in order to become a agent advisor. I really liked the course. The instructor was Joel Corey. He's a former NBA and NFL agent. I really enjoyed the course. I really enjoyed the chats, that you have to have. I hope to, continue on that path. I'm still trying to find my way on what I want to do, but, still, getting those emails and still getting all that information. Another class I'd want to take is analytics. I really love numbers and I really love math, and the fact that, data is becoming a real tool used for a lot of teams, a lot of agencies, even when it comes to contract negotiations. That's something I really like, and hopefully I'll be able to continue that.
Yeah, one of the classes I'm thinking of taking is salary cap and negotiation, sports administration, and baseball GM and scouting.
All great choices, Miguel. All great choices.
For sure. You have a podcast, which not so many people know about, but can you tell us what's your podcast about? Who have you interviewed? And what do you have planned in the future if you want to share?
Yes, I do have a podcast. I started a podcast about 4 or 5 years ago. It was in a way to honor my mom. My mom was a former teacher, and she had this idea when, podcasts were starting to become a thing that she wanted to do. So after she passed away, I wanted to keep myself occupied. I didn't want to, get lost in my head. So I thought, oh, I'll do a podcast just to try. And my first 2 or 3 episodes, I really love movies. So I focused on movies. And of course, I love video games. So I have a double episode where I talk about, video games you should play at least once, and then, gaming channels at the time that I really enjoyed that I thought others could enjoy. When I took the first class of sports management worldwide and we had to interview an athlete, I ended up meeting a friend at my nephew's birthday party and found out he was a former professional wrestler. His name is Chris Nelson. He was actually my first interview. It's also, still trying to figure out how to do my own editing as far as audio goes. I'm a quick learner. I'm a tech person. I will find a way to make it work. And interviewing Chris was really good. Not only was I interviewing a friend, but I was also figuring out how I wanted to do. After that, I have interviewed a former football player who's actually a family member, Wonderful Mons. Hopefully, I can post that interview soon. Also, another interview I actually did right after Chris. He's a former promoter and really loved the interview, but I had an issue with the audio, and it drove me crazy because I thought I lost it. But hopefully I can get that taken care of, and hopefully I can post those interviews soon. I really enjoyed the interview part of podcasting, but all in all, I really like to just talk about movies, talk about sports, maybe even combine the two. But I really enjoy it. I'd like to do more of it, but sometimes just trying to hit the record button is tough.
You mentioned video games. So my question to you is, what are some of the best video games you ever played, or systems that you owned, or that you've known a family member that you have played with and stuff like that? So yeah, I'm interested to hear that.
Miguel, you just opened the Pandora's box. the I'm probably giving away my age, but the first video game console I owned was an Atari 5600. After that, I owned a Nintendo. My parents got it for me for Christmas. I didn't ask for it; they just got it for me. So I grew up playing, Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. But then my mom bought me this game called Tetris, and I absolutely loved it. And it's weird because I'm not a puzzle person, but when it comes to Tetris, I absolutely love it. And I actually can say I'm a Tetris champion. I have the plaque to prove it, and it's not a participation trophy. I like to tell people all the time. But I mean, I grew up, playing video games. I had a Sega Genesis, and the first game I had on Sega Genesis was Mortal Kombat. And I still love that game to this day, even though people kind of, have issues with it. The first systems I bought myself were actually, a PlayStation 1. I was given a PlayStation 2. I bought, one of the first Xbox 360s. And the Xbox 360 is where I made my gamer tag. My tag, Lady Avry, was just, I had to create one, and I just created one out of the blue. I still have it. It's part of my brand. I still keep it. Now I have an Xbox One. I still have an Xbox One. I recently purchased a PlayStation 5. I do love the Call of Duty franchise. I'm a single player person. I really love a good storyline in video games. I also love the Assassin's Creed franchise, some of the best, single player storylines there. But recently, since I purchased the PlayStation 5, I have been playing Hogwarts Legacy. I know the game has gotten caused a bit of a controversy, but the game is very good. I really, really enjoy it. And I do. It's kind of one of those things where if I have a bad day, if something happens, I can put on a video game and I can, escape the real world a bit. And that's a joy of video games that I really love.
Best breakfast meal.
I I love pancakes. I really love pancakes. A fancier pancake, a crepe, you know. Also, you can't go wrong with eggs. I'm a scrambled egg person myself. Um, Also, I'm a believer that breakfast can be eaten at any time of the day. For someone who usually works at night, I love that breakfast can be eaten, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Favorite snack.
Ooh, actually, even though they're kind of a treat for me, I really love Cheetos hot fries. I don't know what it is about this potato stick covered in orange stuff, but I really like them. I don't eat them a lot. You know, trying to stay healthy. You know, stay on the right path in my weight loss journey. But I really love Cheetos hot fries.
If you were ever to broadcast a game, which one would you do? A Final Four game or a Rose Bowl game?
That's a tough one. Actually, I know this is kind of weird, especially, you know, we've been talking about March Madness, but I'd go with a Rose Bowl game because, I mean, your chances of a Pac-10 champion, and then you have your Big Ten. I mean, even just the last two have been very great. I'd go with a Rose Bowl. There's, you know, something about something about being at the Rose Bowl, being in Pasadena, you know, hopefully, you know, even catching the parade. I think the pageantry of it would make me choose the Rose Bowl game.
Give me your top three favorite movies.
Miguel, you're killing me. You're killing me. Oh my goodness. Oh, this oh this is gonna be tough. I'll say it this way. My top three are probably movies that if I'm flipping the channels and I see them, I'll just stop what I'm doing and watch them anyway. My third is kind of like a 3-in-1 combo because it's the trilogy, and that's Lord of the Rings. It doesn't matter which one's on, I will watch it. Number two, a classic of mine when I was a teenager, and I still love his movies, Pulp Fiction. I mean, Royale with Cheese. I mean, the soundtrack itself is fire. So, and I really love that movie. And again, I'm probably giving away my age, but I really love Dirty Dancing. I really love Dirty Dancing. I'm probably one of those people in generation that probably loved, you know, music and dancing because of Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. But I'd go with that one. I'd go with those three. I'd go with those three.
Favorite movie genre.
Uh, that's a tough one too because I love watching a lot of movies. Now there's one genre I really don't like to watch, and that's horror. I really love suspense, but I would say action. I would say action. I love a good action movie. I mean, recently I got to see the latest John Wick movie, so I love a really good action movie. And you know, if the subgenre is like science fiction or fantasy, I love that as well. But I'd say overall action. I really love a good action movie.
Last but not least, this one is a funny one, and this one just came to my mind. Which is the better game show, or the game show that at some point you said to yourself, you know what, I enjoy this one more than the other one? And both of these shows are good. Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune?
Oh, Miguel, I grew up with both. You know, when summer came and you got to be home, that was kind of the highlight, is watching game shows. But I actually I have a friend that was on Wheel of Fortune twice, and he loves it. Like he is a puzzle person. He can watch the show. They get three letters in, and all of a sudden he's solving the puzzle, and I'm just sitting here waiting until the very end. But for me, I really love Jeopardy. I absolutely do. It holds a special place in my heart for a lot of people. Alex Trebek was the host we all grew up with, we all loved. When I used to work the night shift before I left for work, my mom and I, we would watch the first round. And the first round was usually about 15 minutes. And my mom, and even when I was a kid, my grandmother, when I lived with my grandmother, they would go absolutely insane when I would sweep a category like, baseball, or if it was a music category. But, my best memory was right before my mom passed, we were watching Jeopardy. And at this point, because Jeopardy has to evolve with the times, one of the categories was Harry Potter. And I love Harry Potter. And I swept the category, and my mom just looked at me and she goes, "How do you know that?" I read the books, I watched the movies. She goes, "Isn't it time for you to go to work?" I said, "Have a good day." So I I really love Jeopardy. I'm that friend that if there's a trivia night, I'm the one to call. I have that part in my brain, like people call useless information. That's me. That's me. I really love Jeopardy. And I mean, I have a Jeopardy app. I have, I think there's like a Jeopardy app on my TV. I really love Jeopardy. There's something about, especially in the games, hearing Alex Trebek's voice. And I was really sad when he got sick and passed away, but Jeopardy holds a special place in my heart. It really, really does.
Yeah, I remember in high school, for um for U.S. government class and AP economics, we would play a game of Jeopardy, and it was fun. But yeah, rest in peace, Alex Trebek. Now I want to talk. I want to ask you about the Atlanta Braves. What do you think about Michael Harris? I feel that I like Michael Harris, and I feel that he has a tremendous future with his ball club. I mean, a lot of these players are signed for long-term deals. So, what do you think about Michael Harris and his contributions to Atlanta?
I really love what he's doing right now. I mean, the team is still young. I do like that they've locked down, some of these players long term. But I even when you're a fan of a team for so long, and you're used to the players, and you know that certain players are going to step aside or retire, or God forbid, want to be traded or go for free agency, that's kind of tough. When Freddie Freeman came in, I really loved Freddie Freeman, and then knowing that he was going to be a free agent and possibly not be a Brave, it was sad. But as a great player, I really loved him. I'm glad he got his World Series with Atlanta. Not the biggest fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Even, like I said, growing up, I'm not a fan of the Yankees, not a fan of the Dodgers, because those are two teams that kind of broke our hearts in the 90s. But I love this. I love this new core of players, especially with Harris. I love the energy, and that's one thing I really like when I watch baseball, not just the Atlanta Braves. What energy are they bringing to the table? And I like what I'm seeing so far. So hopefully, that can still translate into, divisional titles and pennants. We won't talk about that series with Philly last year, but I'm enjoying what I'm seeing right now. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing right now, and not just and not just for the Braves, with baseball in general.
Avery, thank you so much for taking time to do the interview. You know, it's always great to work with you, whether it's college football, college basketball, and even more stuff. I mean, you and I, we have a lot more similarities than I could ever imagine, but much respect and praise to everything that you're doing and continue to do great work at, especially podcasting. I'm looking forward to hearing more episodes from your podcast.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Again, I really enjoyed you having me on your show. It's a real honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That does it for this episode of the Respect and Pray Show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, all right? Don't forget. And you guys know the motto is always the same as always. Have mutual respect, mutual love, and mutual admiration. So stay tuned for the next episode.